halted progress on one of Nevada's largest proposed solar developments, the Esmeralda 7 solar project, marking another major blow to the renewable energy sector under President Donald Trump's renewed term. The decision underscores the administration's sweeping efforts to unwind Biden-era clean energy initiatives. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news, finding truth.
Hey, Jim, remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
I like hit records, my fans, they can't wait.
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
Last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
What do you call the study of living things? Next. Where do you hear this? Folks, it is a Free Phone Friday. We are back. It's Friday. We're live.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, you know, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Friday. It's Free Phone.
Friday.
It's Free Phone.
Yes, it is. Hey, free phone Friday. Yay. They are charged with the task of telling us what it is we shall talk about on the program. Telephone number to take me up on this kind, benevolent, beneficent offer use of these radio airwaves. Give us a call sometime when you have no class. 844-527-8723. 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever hath been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. Crusader Stadium chat room is open at crusadechannel.com/chat. Here on a free phone Friday, did I just hear that Janet Huxley say that Congress is headed out of town for a long weekend break? Well, I mean, I don't have anything else to do. We've talked about this before because the government shutdowns have happened before. It's actually kind of nice and relaxing and soothing to know that the criminals that run the world's largest criminal enterprise in the history of the human race can't practice their thievery. They're actually prevented from doing it. So they go, oh, hey, Tone, well, you know what we're going to do? We got nothing to steal. What are we going to do? You know, I don't know. We're going to go home. I don't know. We're going to go chase some dames. They literally have nothing to do. This should demonstrate to the American people. No one wants to see the air traffic controller shut down. And this is a question that should have been answered 45 years ago. And the strike in 1981, when the ATCs were basically federalized by Ronald Reagan. And Reagan, during that government shutdown, said, no, we're not going to quit. You're going to go to work. You work for me now. Or you work for the federales now. So, and again, there's nothing in the short term that you can do about that. Maybe in the long term. But the American citizens, outside of that, are now going to see, and they should see this every time that there is a shutdown of essential services, that most people, or most of what they do in their lives, is not affected by the 7 trillion-headed hydra that sits on the banks of the Potomac River. It just isn't. Which is not to say it doesn't have a purpose or a use. I mean, there are some things that, if we're going to have this democracy of ours, that they actually do have to do, but it's not. It's not most of what they're currently doing. About 93.7% of what they're currently doing does not need to be done. You know, it's an interesting statistic. Not that anybody cares about stats anymore. You know, I say that because part 2 of the Crowder interview is out. Part 2 is actually worse than part 1, where the black guys in the barber shop with Crowder throwing facts at them and them going, and he even published, going, okay, these are where I got all the stats. And then the stats check out. The black guy's going, we don't care if the stats are accurate. They're still wrong. And there are still white guys left that are roaming the American countryside. And as long as Whitey's out there, then we can't ever get ahead. I don't understand, and I never have, this mentality. How is it that me being successful deprives you of your chance at success? You know, if I looked at it that way, then with all the magnificence and opulence of the successful influencers, media influencers on your various media platforms, I just quit them. Because look at all the success they have. That means there's none left for me. So, and I'm not successful because they are, which is something I don't believe. But they can't be convinced otherwise. I guess he spent like 2 hours in his barbershop throwing stats at these guys and talking to them. And then finally he told them something to the effect, I guess we could play one small part of that clip later on in the show. He told them, like, guys, if you keep this up, so I'm going to broadcast this. You keep telling young American white males that everything is their fault and that you're coming for them. They're going to arm up and they're going to be ready for you, and it's not going to end well for you. They outnumber you. Seriously outnumber you. So Rod Dreher X's the question today on his blog, can the racial divide ever be healed? Not when an entire industry has been based upon it. You know, trillions of dollars of wealth transfer have gone from people that have earned the wealth to people that didn't earn the wealth, primarily black people. If anyone's in need of reparations, it's the people that have been taxed to fund the welfare state the past 55 years. Oh, not supposed to say that, Mike. What are you supposed to say? Oh, no, I gave, would you like to give to the, would you like to give to the charity? No, thanks. I gave him my paycheck. They've already extracted enough charity from me. So that situation does not look as though it's going to heal itself. I want to talk about something else. I'd like to pivot for just a moment. What do we have to do, and what has to happen to deport Ilhan Omar? She got to go. Ilhan Omar is a member of an enemy foreign state who has supposedly been elected by the morons in Minnesota to be their member of the House of Representatives. She is still here as, I know we looked it up once. There is a way to deport her. They put a microphone on her again, was it yesterday or in the last 2 days, at some event where it's Viva Somalia, and speaking in Somali, in Somalese, and then exhorting the crowd to love their president, who's the president of Somalia. If you love Somalia so much, then get on a boat and go the blank back there. Get out. Then there is this. Wait a minute now, we're just getting started. During the New York City mayoral debate last night, Zoran the magnificent Kami Mandani actually told and guilt-tripped Andrew Cuomo, who I'm no fan of, for not having visited enough mosques in New York City, for not having done enough for the mosque population. You know, we love to make fun of Sadiq Khan, who is the mayor of London, and say, how is it possible that those idiot Londoners are elected an interloper Muslim immigrant wacko who is ruling as an immigrant Muslim wacko? Well, you're about to find out, because it's going to happen in New Tenochtitlan City. And Mamdani was pontificating, if that's possible for a Muslim. He was Muhammadificating, I guess. He was on the stage and he was browbeating Giuliani. I'm sorry, Cuomo, because he, I guess, is not Muslim enough. Now, here's a question. Is that something that is sufficient to throw one over the top and be elected mayor of New Tenochtitlan City? Because that really is the question. You know, without firing very many shots, the Muslims have taken over much of the Western world. They have moved in. There was a story the other day that I saw about the amount of Muslims that have moved into Ireland. You know, Mike Parrott talked about this many times. And about, okay, well, when you think an Irishman, what do you think? John Wayne, or a little leprechaun-looking dude, Or name your Irish actor, Colin Farrell, Rory McIlroy. When you think an Irishman, I don't think Muhammad. I do not think an Arabian. So everyone understand this. Yet the Mohammedans, the story was their population has increased 2,000% this century. From wherever it was in 2000 until 2025, their population has increased 2,000%. You could say the same thing in England. As a matter of fact, there was a story. I had it in the pile for days. Here it is. Ireland killed by its politicians. A friend in the U.S. texted me overnight to say that he and his wife took the kids to Ireland over the summer. It's over, he wrote. Last one out, turn off the lights. Elites and migrants have effected a grand bargain. The former will live a lavish lifestyle for one last generation, that's the Irish elites, then cede control to their former servants. The former is playing small ball, the latter is playing long ball. And then there is a graph. This is in Dreher's post from, what day is this? Are all broken families fixable? There's a graph below that. And Dr. Eoin Linehan, sounds like a good Irish name to me. This is stark. It is an act of cultural destruction by the political class. Official data on Muslims in Ireland since 2022 has been intentionally opaque, but the most conservative extrapolations from official data support a number around 110,000. Muslims now outnumber traditional Irish speakers in Ireland. So the Gaeltacht population is 106,000. The Muslim population, 112,000. And I guess a Gaeltacht is someone that speaks native Irish, Gaelic, if you will. So the people that speak native Gaelic, 106,000. Muslims, 112,000. Isn't that one of the most incredible, shocking things anyone has ever heard? How did that come about? Well, look in the United States. They've actually accomplished this in Minnesota. Minnesota, Stan, where the aforementioned Ilhan Omar hails from. That area where she's from is predominantly Muslim. You know that in Dearbornistan, Michigan, that the Muslims have taken control of basically almost all of the government there, and they are now playing the prayer. The call to prayer sirens, or whatever the hell it is, whatever that is, so you could drop your prayer mat, get on your knees and face Mecca every day. There's something to be said about all of these events seemingly all happening at the same time. Even though it seems that, well, they're not exactly happening at the same time. Pretty close. Okay. Come back to the United States now and go to the Attorney General debate last night twixt Jay Jones. What's the guy that he's running against name? I don't talk about them enough to have. Jason Miyares versus Jay Jones. We have a couple of clips. We'll play them for you. Jay Jones supposedly apologized for the "I want to kill my Republican opponent, I want to murder him," 2 bullets in his head text messages, and then the text messages about murdering his children in front of his wife so that she could see the net effect of the husband's votes on whatever in the Virginia Assembly. Jay Jones, his primary point for wanting to be Virginia's Attorney General now is, who's going to stop Trump? I am. I heard this and I go, wait a minute, you're running for Attorney General of Virginia. How are you going to stop Trump? I don't know. How does that equate? Why are there so many people that hate Trump, apparently in the state of Virginia, that you can elect an Attorney General, allegedly the highest law enforcement officer in the state, so that you can stop someone that doesn't live in your state? Does this make any sense to anyone? Folks, this is the end. We're at the gates of hell. It can't get any worse than this. Combine this with the insanity of governors of states threatening law enforcement officers that you wait until your guy that you work for is not in political power anymore and you're going to jail. I'm going to prosecute you. Speaking of going to jail, John Bombin Bolton is a heap big wampum trouble. Can't happen to a more pathetic excuse for a neocon than Bombin Bolton. Apparently, the charges that the feds actually have him on are substantial. This is not technicalities. It's not like he failed to file a report of some sort. You know, he didn't. It's not that he forgot to put the cover sheet on his TPS report. No, he actually did some foul, seditious things, including like, okay, well, dude, how did you get this top secret information? How did you get this secret intel on your computers? How did you come into possession of these documents? By the way, didn't you say something about that? Because President Trump had documents he actually had authority to have. Nonetheless, didn't you say that his whole case should be taken care of and he should be in jail within 30 days? I think I seem to recall that. By the way, here's a good one. When the Clinton News Network announced the indictment of Bolton, they announced Bolton as a former Trump appointee. I'm like, that's rich, because the last job that I know that John Bombin Bolton had was working for CNN. Why didn't CNN lead with former CNN? This network wishes to distance itself, which is to let assure our viewers that we knew nothing. We know nothing. Here's another thing. Do you know why Bombin Bolton was stealing some of the state secrets, or borrowing some of the state secrets that he was borrowing? So he could go on CNN and blab about them, so that he could write about them for his book. His defense is now, no, he was doing this for research. So you became basically a double agent spy for the Iranians or whoever, so you could write a book about becoming a double agent spy. Okay, got it. So does that mean then the rest of us, not that we would do this, can study to be murderers and can go like, no, I didn't actually kill anyone. I only killed people in the research for my book. You see, when I stabbed that little girl, I was only doing it just so I could write down the reaction and make it really lifelike in my book. But I'm not really guilty of murder and of killing anyone. You gotta believe me! Sorry, we don't.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Silk Feather. Ma'am, what would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll take the Dom. The Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. And you, sir? I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus, and Ozempic was the name of a demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah, but besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles over for lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me.
Listen up, Red, White, and Dude Nation fans. Now, if you wear one new t-shirt this spring, then make sure you pour yourself into a new Mike Church Show neon microphone t-shirt. Printed on beautiful 100% soft cotton tees, the logo's so cool. It's even more cool than burning unburdened by what has been stickers. Available in sizes medium through Alvin Bragg sized 3X. Be the best dressed dude at your cigar shop or the coolest dressed gal at Junior's soccer match. Order today at shop.mikechurch.com. Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, October 17th, 2025. This report brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that's won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow closed down again, 0.65%. The S&P along with it, 0.63%. NASDAQ also dropped 0.47%. Today is National Pasta Day. We find noodles all over the world. Pasta, a type of noodle of traditional Italian cuisine. The first reference dates to 1154 in Sicily and was first attested to in English in 1874. Typically made from unleavened dough or durum wheat flour, the flour is mixed with water or eggs and formed into sheets or various shapes. It's National Mulligan Day. In golf, a mulligan happens when a player gets a second chance to perform a specific move or action. It's Black Poetry Day, Mammography Day, and National Edge Day, celebrating a conscious choice to live free from alcohol, tobacco, and recreational drugs. Our quote of the day, nothing how little soever it be, if it is suffered for God's sake, can pass without merit in the sight of God. Thomas à Kempis. And our saint of the day is Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
This is Capcom. We are ready to go for launch at the Crusade Channel launch site.
New show lineup.
Go.
Broadcasting live on X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We'll go fly.
Breaking news updates.
Go.
The Mike Church Show Band.
We'll go.
We're go for launch for the Crusade Channel 4.0 mothership.
2, 1, lift off.
On August 4th, the Crusade Channel will launch Crusade Channel 4.0, the mothership. And you'll see why everyone else is lost in space.
Watching me. I'm just an average man with an average life. I work from 9 to 5. Hey, hell, I pay the price. All I want is to be left alone in my average home. But why do I always feel like I'm in the twilight zone? And I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel like somebody's watching.
This is one of those songs I wonder would it have been a hit had Michael Jackson not joined in on that chorus. It was just Rockwell the whole time. The longest running long-form continual radio program here on air anywhere in the world. America's morning show, A Crusade for Truth. I have guests on this program, but I don't need them. We are literally the last live commentary, self-hosted radio and television program on air anywhere in the world. True story. You know, it's this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at mypillow.com/KingDude. mypillow.com/KingDude. Get a great deal on a MyPillow, and believe me, oh boy, was I hugging my MyPillow last night. So glad that I had one. I have 3. You will be glad too. And you know, at the end of last night's Thursday night throwdown, that none of you attended, except you kind, tender-hearted, beautiful 18 souls that showed up. Thank you. at the end of and it was a great show about rivalries. We could have gone on another 2 hours on rivalries. At the end of the show, close the studio down. It's the end of a long day, broadcasting for like 13 hours. And all I can think about doing is getting these shoes off and getting into my slippers. So get you a pair. I think you'll like them. My next move, I got to get me a My Robe. They make them right next to my towels and my cushions for buckshot. All of that available at mypillow.com/KingDude. Made in America by Americans from Mike Lindell's factory there in Minnesota. Shop with them today. mypillow.com/KingDude. The Crusade Channel gets a cut. You will be supporting us and getting the best night's sleep in the whole wide world. So visit mypillow.com/KingDude. One more thing on the winnowing down, or it's not a winnowing down, the importation of Muslims and Mohammedans into everyone else's countries. There's a story, as an article at firstthings.com by Louise Perry titled Indigenous London. Indigenous London. Before London was a global city, it was just a city, and people lived there across its 2,000-year histoire. London has always had a working class. In the 16th century, that class acquired the name Cockney. The word originally referred to an excessively pampered child and probably came to denote Londoners because rural folk regarded them as soft. Okay, Cockney. What is he? Oh, lad, he's a Cockney. You know, I asked Joseph Pierce about this one time, and Pierce told me, no, I know what it was. We were discussing how to properly accent the part of one of the many features I work with Joseph on, of an English Cockney. And Joseph was like, oh, Michael, he wouldn't say it like that. What he would say is forever. He wouldn't say the word like that. And so we were working on it, and I never really understood the difference between Cockney English, or British, if you will, and whatever other form. I kind of do now, because if you read Louise Perry's essay, this is the interesting part. So take the Ireland stuff that we talked about last segment. Take the part about Mondami saying that Cuomo has not bent the knee enough to Muslims and gone to enough mosques in New Tenochtitlan, and therefore he can't be mayor. The United States cannot become a Muslim country, can't be taken over. Who was it that was told the other day that you got to get out and because you had the soundbite, we were listening to it. You can't be a Muslim here, so you're going to have to, we're never going to have Sharia law here. We're never going to have.
Switzerland.
Oh, it's in Switzerland, right. So all of whitey country is dealing with what the elite ruling masters of our precious democracies. If there's no other reason to jettison democracy, it's this. And there are millions. In the United States, 7 trillion. Oh, I'm sorry, 232 trillion reasons. Buckshot agrees. Louise, you see, the Cockneys have mostly left London. This is the story that I wanted to tell. And don't think, well, that's just a London story. No, that is what's the city that Elon Umar is from? She's right outside of Minneapolis. I want to say part of her district is in Minneapolis. St. Paul. Because that's what she said in the speech when she was babbling on in Somalese. All right, we'll find out in a minute. You see, the Cockneys have mostly left London. Between 2001 and 2021, Census records show that the number of white British people in London fell from 4.3 million to 3.2 million, at a time when the overall population of the city grew substantially. Political scientist Eric Kaufman, who we quoted the other day about the decline in the amount of trannies or people that, or college students that are saying that that they don't have a gender. Political scientist Eric Kaufman believes that this exodus of nearly 1 million people, put that into perspective, 1 million people would be today double the current population of metropolitan New Orleans. Not just the city itself, Metro New Orleans, about 500,000 people. So it would take 2 New Orleanses. Here's a comparison. In 2005, before Hurricane Katrina, the population of New Orleans, the Metro New Orleans, was hovering between, 650,000, 700,000, somewhere up in there. After Katrina and after the diaspora, because many people have said, screw that, I ain't never going back. The population of the city was less than 500,000. And in many ways, the city has never recovered to where it once was. That's a loss of 200,000 people, maybe 250. London has lost a cool 1 million. Where'd they go? Kaufman believes that this exodus of nearly 1 million people is almost entirely made up of Cockneys who have since settled in Essex, Kent, and other surrounding counties. It is obvious to anyone who lives in London that the city is now composed almost exclusively of affluent white British people who earn 50% more than those outside of the capital, and ethnic minorities, some poorer and some very rich. Vestiges of Cockney culture continue to circulate in the British mainstream, particularly in film and TV, intended for an international audience, but the Cockney London of previous centuries is gone. The capital doesn't have a white working class anymore. So then why do you still get to say that Whitey is at fault for everything and Whitey doesn't live there anymore? Why is it that white people aren't allowed to still do things in London because they're white and because they're going to screw everything up for the minorities and I guess for the elites that are living there when the whites don't equal or demographically, statistically speaking, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. What the hell's going on here? Well, you know what's going on here. Did you find out where Elon Omar's district was?
I put it in the chat room.
Okay.
It's actually really big.
Maggie says that the district is, let me take a look at it.
So she's got...
Oh, I see it. Okay. Her district is downtown Minneapolis.
It's District 5.
Minneapolis has fallen. Remember the Gerard Baker movies, Angel Has Fallen? London, first one was Angel Has Fallen, wasn't it? The first one, it's him protecting the White House, the president in the White House. Then they move him over to protecting the president in Downing Street. Olympus has fallen, and then Angel has fallen.
Then London has fallen.
And then London has fallen. Well, let me tell you, Olympus, Angel, London, and Minneapolis have fallen. If you want to see the district, it's crusadechannel.com/chat. You can see it right there. This is not the outskirts of Minneapolis. It is Minneapolis. I wonder where the Vikings Stadium is. I think the Vikings Stadium is in downtown Minneapolis. So that would mean they have a basketball team, don't they? Minnesota Timberwolves. They have a baseball team. I know that. Minnesota Twins. Do the pro sports team, that'd be interesting to find out, play in Elon Omar's district? You have the most vitriolic, America-hating witch who speaks foreign languages, speaks in tongues, wishes to rally the citizens of a former of an African country who now have ostensibly taken over Minneapolis, Minnesota. By the way, who's responsible for these immigration policies? How did this happen? Well, we destabilized Somalia, then the Bleeding Heart leftards and the USAID crowd, seeing a multi-bazillion-dollar bonus deal. Hey, let's move them all over here. Where are we going to put them? Yeah, where are we going to put them? Hey, I got an idea. Let's move them to Minnesota. Yeah, they'll hate it. It's too cold. They come from Africa. It's too cold in Minneapolis. They'll only stay a little while and then they'll leave. Apparently, Muslims have become penguins and polar bears. Yeah, I think this happened during the Clinton. Well, we know that we had the whole catastrophe that was Black Hawk Down. We know that what was the warlord's name? That's in he's in the movie. I used to know his name. The warlord's name that ran Somalia. What the hell was his name? And it wasn't like the Haitian barbecue. He actually had an actual name. So Maggie says there's an estimated 86,610 to 100,000 Somalis in Minnesota, representing the largest Somali population in the United States. The majority live in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area, with others also residing in cities like St. Cloud. Recent census data notes 86,610 residents of Somali descent in the state, 37,048 residents born in Somalia. That's it, 53-4 truck. Muhammad Farah ID. Thank you. Well, the chat room audience is on it. Now, if you can just cough some donations up today, whoa! You'll really be on it. Muhammad Farah Adid. Strange how these things happen, isn't it? Well, we have to take care of all of these people, these indigenous peoples who are here, who have to leave their country because the warlords have taken it over. It's a terrible situation. I sent Al Gore over there to go look at it himself. While Al Gore was there, he stopped by a shop at Tipper, wouldn't let him go into because they had porn in it. Picked up a magazine or two from. Did I say that out loud? Seriously. Yeah, I know that the Muslims are also in Lewiston, Maine. You know what else that they've done? They have conned and used the Small Business Administration into funding their takeover thousands upon thousands of what we used to call inconvenience stores. Now I guess there are foreign exchange markets where, and most of these people are the ones that you actually encounter are very rude. The foul-smelling immigrants who have purchased these stores and have stocked them with whatever, and you go like, well, how in the hell? How did this happen? Let me tell you a quick little sidebar story, just to kind of put that into perspective. Where Studio Walsingham West is going to go, the property is fenced, the electricity is there, there is a temporary home RV is there, there's a septic there, fiber optic is now there, we have just learned, that's fantastic. So we can actually talk about the getting out of here if we can ever sell this house in earnest, and to the building, the Walsingham West, the new studio. It's an interesting thing that people are moving to this particular area, Southwest Louisiana, and I mean it's a slow population growth. It's not like it's a mad it's a mad rush, but in any event, one of the things that is missing from that area is a small footprint grocery store. So I thought, well, you know what? I just happen to know a grocery store owner. So he owns a Piggly Wiggly down the street, and he and I are very friendly. So I said, Travis, let me ask you a question. And I told him the demographics and everything, and he went, here, if you're watching on YouTube or on Crusade TV at crusadechannel.com, I was telling him about it, and he goes, mm-hmm. He literally got wide-eyed. Really? Then he went, no, it's not for me. I'm out. And I said, how hard is it? And he goes, it used to be pretty difficult, Mr. Church. He calls me Mr. Church. He goes, they've made it really easy, and with all the with the internet and all that stuff now, most of the stuff you used to have to do by hand, you don't have to do it anymore. So it pretty much, a lot of it comes prepackaged. The point is, I was asking him about, well, how would I go about in this little area here, open up a Piggly Wiggly? And I have no experience whatsoever. One of the things that he told me, of course, you have to have enough money to put down because you have to provide some of, if not most of, the opening inventory. So, you got all your paper products, you got all your dairy products, your cleaning products, your deli products, your bakery products. Maybe you're carrying alcoholic beverage. You got to get an ABC license and all that crap. This thing, it's quite a task, and it's expensive. Well, can anyone tell me how Haji, who barely speaks English, is rude, poorly dressed? How did so many thousands upon thousands of Hajis seemingly acquire the knowledge and the funds to do this? And we're told that they're refugees from Afghanistan and Somalia? Well, we now know. Small Business Administration, a Democrat-created entity, has been funneling SBA cash to these to these creeps, so that they can go and buy out the mom and pops that originally opened the stores. So they just go in there and they go like, well, I got an SBA loan. Take my SBA loan, yeah. Hey, Whitey, get out. Get out before I sick the Biden Injustice Department on you for some racist crime you didn't commit. The injustices of the ages of faith start to pale in comparison, do they not? In any event, these things that are that seemingly are happening everywhere, are we at the end of these outrages? Is Trump bringing these things to, or is President Trump trying to bring some of these things to an end? Because it seems to me like he is. Is he going to be successful? I don't know. Leftards keep suing him. As a matter of fact, there is a federal judge that has already been smacked down by the Supreme Court who made an identical ruling to the one she was smacked down on by the SCOTUS just the other day. True story. Caroline Levitt was talking about it. She goes, well, let me just tell you about this judge that threw this injunction up against us laying people off during the government shutdown. This is the same judge that did this back in February. We took her to court, and the SCOTUS sided with us, and she's pretty much done the exact same thing, even after the Supreme Court has said that we have the authority as the executive, as the president, to do it. So there's craziness out there. What else do we have to talk about here on a Free Phone Friday? Okay, we had the Biden story. Now, this is... In the Oval Office press conference yesterday, President Trump is asked about IVF. Well, first of all, he's asked about Ozempic. So I said, well, why should they be subsidizing the cost or trying to drive the cost of Ozempic down when so many people are abusing it and using it to lose weight? They have all other manner of health problems now. And why isn't Bobby Kennedy back there waving his arms and screaming, going, no, don't do it, because he knows about it. Well, apparently Ozempic is also a treatment for diabetes. And I know that there has been talk in the Crusader Stadium chat room about diabetes and about insulin and how expensive insulin is, especially if you don't have a health insurance plan. What is it, like $600 a month or something like that? In any event, my brother's on it. I could just make the call, but I'm pretty sure he's on one of the scam plans. So they make this announcement yesterday that, and Dr. Oz is in there, that the goal is to reduce the cost of a dose of Ozempic down. Did I hear it? Was it a dose? I think it's the dose to $150. And it's currently like $1,000. It's very expensive, $1,000 down to $150. Then they started talking about IVF medication. And I think that this is one of these areas where, and it's a rare area, where President Trump I guess no one has the courage to go into that office and tell him that's not a pro-life treatment. Because one of the reporterettes asked Trump about it, and he goes, you have constituents and many MAGA people that oppose. So she told him. She said there were many people that oppose IVF and especially some of the fertility treatments, but certainly IVF, on the basis of that it is a sin against life. And Trump's answer was what I have heard him give before, which was, how can it be against life? It brings babies into the world. How can it be against life? And then he went on to say, I don't know. I haven't heard that. So apparently no one's told him. No one's told him that you got to create embryos, and in creating embryos, you're going to destroy almost all of them in order to do an IVF. In any event, we have the soundbite. I just thought to myself, why isn't someone told him? Why hasn't he been informed?
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you know you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pens, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
Hey, it's a King Dude with another free lesson in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. Harvest was Great Britain's name for the season that follows summer, until autumn began to displace it at the end of the 16th century. But English immigrants to America preferred fall to autumn. And did you know that fall is caused by the sun setting below the equator in the northern hemisphere sky, also known as the equinox, which continues south to the winter solstice. Here's another seasonal fact for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacre-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our founder's Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag? Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off, and I'll throw in a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. You know, don't cost nothing. Hurry, fall is here, and flag flying season in the north is limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us at 844-527-8723. The Carillon de Sacre-Cœur flag will beautify any indoor or outdoor space it flies in, but supplies are limited. So order today at mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723. The Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Mary Joseph with your Saint of the Day. Today is October 17th, the feast of Saint Margaret Mary, who died in 1690. Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque was a visitation nun who, in the year 1675, received from our Lord, who appeared to her out of the depths of the Blessed Sacrament, the assignment to be the great apostle of the public veneration of His most Sacred Heart. Her spiritual supporter and director was a saintly priest at the Society of Jesus, Saint Claude de la Colombière. He died 8 years before her. Our Lord told Saint Margaret Mary that He received in the Blessed Eucharist only irreverence and ingratitude. It was to her that our Lord made the request that the Friday after the octave of Corpus Christi be set aside as a special feast in honor of the Sacred Heart. It was to Saint Margaret Mary that Jesus made the request that Catholics receive Him in Holy Communion on each first Friday of the month and keep a holy hour on the night before the first Friday with the Blessed Sacrament exposed. The great apostles of the Feast of Corpus Christi and the Feast of the Sacred Heart were girls. Both were nuns. It was Blessed Juliana of Cornillon, an Augustinian nun who died in 1258 in Belgium, who was chosen by God to work for the institution of the Feast of Corpus Christi. It was Saint Margaret Mary, a visitation nun who died in 1690, who was chosen by God to work for the institution of the Feast of the Most Sacred Heart. Saint Margaret Mary, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the life of today's saint. Tomorrow's saint is Saint Luke. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters in the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Mary Joseph, and until next time, may God bless and Mary keep you.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. Only the Crusade Channel brings you the Saint of the Day read by actual nuns.
Really? Our sisters are actual sisters?
Yes, and you can catch their heavenly voices announcing the Saint of the Day on the Crusade Channel.
Oh, you boomers and your live broadcasts. I'm a busy girl. Sure, I'm very important only in my own mind, but can I get them as podcasts?
I'm not a boomer. And yes, all Saint of the Day recordings are available as mini podcasts on our app and at crusadechannel.com.
I see saintly binge listening in my future. I feel holier already.
Back in the 90s, there was this thing called the cigar boom, where everyone was buying and smoking handmade cigars. But here's the thing. The popular cigars then were the best-made cigars, like Fuente, Joya de Monterrey, and Avo. Over the next 10 years, craftsmanship was replaced by gimmick, and slick packaging, and that's when I decided to get in the business and launched El Rey Dude Corona cigars. 20 years later, I launched Manchipio Maria cigars with that same principle in mind. Make a great handmade cigar, and that's exactly what we do in 4 sizes. I invite you to try a 4-pack sampler of my Manchipio Maria cigars and taste them for yourself in smooth, natural, or bold Maduro wrappers. And to sweeten the deal, I've discounted them 25% for a limited time. And as always, we include a personal humidifier with every order. To order, go to shop.mikechurch.com. Order $50 or more, and shipping is on me. Try my Manchipio Maria cigars today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hey, Jim, remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
Hey guys, you got a minute?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
It's about my dad. He wants to have a sex change operation.
Whoa, I knew he was gay. I didn't think he was that gay.
No, Peter, he's not gay. He's a woman stuck in a man's body.
Yeah, gay.
It's totally different.
Sounds the same.
Well, it's not.
Okay, so he wants to be a woman so he can be a lesbian?
No, he'd date men.
Gay.
Yeah, gay.
Okay, this is not the help I came over here for.
Well, look, let's just all agree that he's odd, huh?
He has an appointment Friday with Dr. Hartman to have the procedure, and he wants me to go with him. I don't know if I can handle that.
Well, I'm sure your friend Peter would be happy to come along for moral support.
All right, but look, here's the deal. Anything he lops off, we get to bring home for Brian.
That's very green of you, Peter.
Let's do it! You gotta beat the clock, you gotta beat the clock.
You can boogie, love disco, love that disco sound. Move on your body, spinning round and round. But don't forget, oh no. Don't forget, oh no. The stars on 45 keep on turning in your mind. But we can work it out. Remember, twist the shout. You still not tell me why, and no reply.
Honey, honey.
Ça fait du sens, Philippe.
You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting.
Interesting comment in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat from Philip. Ozempic is a peptide. Peptides are a potentially a miracle discovery. The Ozempic isn't the problem, it's the dose. Industrial Medical makes more the more they sell, so they titrate up the dose way too fast and too high. If it was microdosed like it was intended to be, it would take longer to achieve the results, but would have very few, if any, adverse effects. As usual, the problem is the result of greed. Well, that is usually the way things work, is it not? It's interesting that it is a peptide. And the doses that they give to fat people that just want to lose weight, the doses that they give to them, because somebody asked the question, if you put everyone on Ozempic, RFK Jr. did the math, didn't he? When saying that if you put everyone on Ozempic, especially all the obese people, you have 71%, and they each need X amount of doses at current consumption or current rate. That would be something like, what did he say, like $1.1 trillion or something like that a year? So in any event, and then there was talk, and I think we had the sound bites. So we shall play them for you. Mike Church Show here, America's morning talk radio show. A crusade for the truth This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trading Post store, shop.mikechurch.com. Shop.mikechurch.com. Somebody actually heard that we had digital media files to download that were really, really amazing and cool, and actually downloaded some yesterday out of the store. Mirabile dictu. Miniature plate. First you spoke French and now in Latin. Mirabile dictu. What does that mean? Speak of miracles. Oh, the guard dog is on duty. You hear him? Do y'all? Maggie's microphone on so you can hear. It must be the lady walking her little.
It's gotta be the older lady
walking her little dog.
He hates that little dog. He's never even met it, but he hates it.
It's so. Get him, Buckshot! Get him!
Don't say that.
If you ever think you're going to try and sneak into this house while we're on air, Buckshot, Bucko, let me tell you something. You're going to fail. All right, in any event, thanks to Jeff Johnson and who else made Vince Sands for your contribution in the chat room to our fundraising. Gregory Ford now for his donation here on a Free Phone Friday. 10th anniversary show is coming up November the 11th. Last year we did a $9,000 for the 9th anniversary fundraiser. This year we'll do a 10 and lots of other things happening as well. So keep checking your email for all the details on that, and your email for one that was sent out to our golly! Be sure somebody's not trying to pick the lock. All right, I'm just making sure that we don't actually have I was thinking about this the other day. What did they used to call people that would try to break into your home to like steal your silverware and stuff? Anybody remember, especially on like 1970s early episodes, original episodes of Scooby-Doo, for example? They called him a prowler. You still remember Velma saying, "Jinky, there's a prowler." A burglar, a prowler. So if someone thinks that they're going to become a prowler and sneak into this home while we're on air, Buckshot is on dude. Hey, buddy. Hey, you. Good job.
A dog that barely weighs 6 pounds.
Okay, Mike. Donations, crusadechannel.com/donate. Check your email for a special donation link to donate to the purchase of the mixing console. Again, we're still on a backup. The backup is 10 years old, and the one that we blew out was 7 years in service. So, and we really need that piece of equipment. It is actually necessary. So you can make, if you're one of the VIP donors or regular donors and you got an email 2 days ago, you'll probably get another one if you didn't click and open the first one, and you can make a contribution to that fund as well. Also put the link in the chat room earlier today. I'll put it in before the end of that's the current one. And that's now, it'll work. But there is no backup to it. The only backup to that guy is the little one that I take on the road to the St. Benedict Center with me, which if we had to, we could broadcast. It wouldn't be pleasant. All right, let's do some digital media files. It's a Free Phone Friday. Oh, this is a good one before we do that. ICE nabbed Chicago area police officer who overstayed tourist visa in 2015. No, wait a minute. That's not possible. The only people that are here are God-fearing, loving dreamers who just want to contribute to and be a part of America. They love all of us so much. They love our country. They love our law. Oh, wait, you just violated a foundational one when you overstayed your visa.
How did he become a law officer?
Maggie has a good question. How did this Manchurian cop become a cop? Well, it is Illinois. So, I guess in Illinois, anything is possible. Do they have unicorns in Illinois? If they're going to have unicorns anywhere, I suppose Illinois would be the location. Let's just start at the top, since you went through all the trouble. He's a lawbreaker to enforce the law.
Hold the law, too.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Right.
Makes total sense.
Caroline Levitt. More big news. Hey, Vlad, hey, it's Donald. How are you? Hey, did you see what I did with the Israelis? Huh? No one's ever seen anything like it. Nothing. There's never been anything like it. We got him to the table. Looks like we're going to have a peace deal. Look, Vlad, about the Yukis. I could wipe you off the face. In any event, Trump called Putin yesterday. I'm not sure why, but he called him, and Putin took the call, and they talked, and then I think we read no, it came out after we were off air. He Trump True Social Media out that, hey, I just had a conversation with President Putin. It was a good one. I'm sending Marco Rubio to meet with, I guess it's Dmitry Lavrov next week. They'll do the first meeting, and then President Putin and I are going to meet in Budapest, in Hungary, and we're going to have a meeting. Today, the little tin horn con man dictator Zelensky is supposed to be in the White House to talk about the peace deal or whatever it is. Look, something to remember. Volodymyr Zelensky has nothing without a war. The West is throwing armaments, munition, and cash at him. As soon as the war is over and Ukraine has to be rebuilt, this guy's not a leader of any sorts. He's been put there to see to it that he continues the con job of acting as though or pretending as though there is something to be said. Thank you, Mark Schroeder. Appreciate you, bud. $50 in for the mixing console. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. When that gravy train runs out, you actually got to rebuild a country. You got to have a leader. You got to have somebody that knows what you need. Trump, basically. Who's going to do it? You know, Ukraine was filled with con men, and has been filled with con men and oligarchs and ex-Russian mafioso types. Since there were Russian mafioso types. Who's going to put Ukraine back together again? I don't believe it's going to be Zelensky. So, like the Israelis, Zelensky is going to fight with everything that he has to try and prevent this war from coming to an end. Trump keeps blaming Putin. I don't believe it's President Putin's fault. And again, as we have said over and over and over, for those of you that have not, don't listen to the Mike Churchill. Where are your guests? I expect you to have guests every 3 minutes. Sorry, not going to comply. Haven't for 34 years. As I have been telling you, and anyone that will listen to me, for the last, I said, started in February or late January of 2023, the Russians view this as a fight for survival and autonomy and sovereignty. They are not going to allow a NATO power to occupy the territory on its western front. You know, the NATO dumbasses with admitting Finland into NATO, which basically puts the northwestern part of Russia with NATO powers on it. These people are, again, they're playing with fire, and President Putin is just not going to take this. He just isn't. and he represents all the Russian people who have been around a lot longer than the Ukrainians and are either coexistence or co-equal in longevity with the rest of Europe, or they're older. They're just not going to allow it. Just like we talk about the Iranians. No one's going to wipe Persia from the map. It's just not going to happen. If it was going to happen, God had a chance to do it back in the Old Testament. Persia has been there since the second book of Kings. Look it up. And people go like, what do you mean Persia's been there? But look it up. Xerxes is in the second book of Kings. And he is referred to as the king of Persia. In any event, you can hope that this actually works. There's so much. What would happen if the Russian people were at peace with the rest of the civilized Western world? At the end of the day, Russia is not an Eastern power. It is not a communist power any longer. It's not an Eastern power. It is not holistic. It's not pagan. It's primarily Russian Orthodox or Russian Catholic. Are there pagans there? Of course there are. But historically, it has been a Christian, basically a Christian nation. Imagine, and it's rich with resources. It's certainly rich with an intellectual tradition or geniuses in Russia. The world would benefit from free trade and relations with Russia. The United States would benefit with free trade and relations with Russia. Why hasn't it happened? Well, follow the money. Again, do you know that the reason why Schmuckle Schumer's deal is not even going to be looked at by Thune and Johnson and the Republican Party and the president? Because what that deal does is attempt to restore all that was done during Doge. If you think that nothing was done, tell that to the Democrats. Because the Democrats are convinced that they got to restore $1.5 trillion of what was taken out by Trump and by Doge. How much is that again? $1.5 trillion. So, big stakes here. And again, I don't think that Zelensky and the people of Ukraine have a card to play here other than, okay, if we give in, who's going to come after we destroyed our country so your weapons manufacturers and your political and ruling elite classes could make tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions off the deal? Who's going to pay to repair and rebuild Ukraine? It's a good question. Play Digital Media File number 1. It's the reason I brought it up as a prelude. Folks, did you see how we wove that into a live talk radio show? Did you see how I just did that? I didn't have to go to the guest who's an expert. I didn't have to go to Scott McGregor or whoever. I just gave it to you, as old school radio guys used to do. And I'm the last one standing. So make a donation. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Appreciate you.
I just left the Oval Office and spoke with the President, the Secretary of State, and the Vice President about the call. And the President, first of all, deserves tremendous credit for how much time and effort he has put into solving peace in the Middle East, which everyone said he wouldn't be able to do. There were many doubters about the President and his national security team, and they are getting it done. And now with respect to the Russia-Ukraine war, which the President continues to be wholeheartedly committed to ending, it was a very good and productive call between the President and President Putin. They discussed many issues. President Putin congratulated the president for solving peace in the Middle East. They also discussed, of course, the Russia-Ukraine war, and they have agreed to convene a meeting of their high-level staff next week to continue these very important discussions, which may be followed by yet another meeting between President Trump and President Putin. I believe the president will be putting out his own statement on this matter momentarily, so everyone should keep their eyes on Truth Social. But it was a good and productive call. And then, of course, we will welcome President Zelensky Zelensky here to the White House again tomorrow so the president can continue those conversations with the Ukrainian side of this conflict as well.
She says Putin. Putin. It's almost like he's pooping. President Poopin. I mean Putin. Trump is the next one. Okay, this isn't about Russia. This is about fertility. Okay, I mentioned this earlier about IVF. And again, apparently no one has told him about how IVF is not a pro-life solution. It just isn't. And pains me when I hear this. And the woman that asked the question, I think that she may be one of those wonderful gals that works at the Federalist. It may have been Elle Purnell or one of them, because I saw her ask the question. She kind of, Emily Shahinsky, or I don't know which one it was because she didn't announce herself. But I've seen her before, and she goes, but you have a lot of supporters that are opposed to this here.
Also taking historic steps to vastly expand access to insurance coverage for fertility care, including IVF, something that, as you know, was not covered. Effective immediately, for the first time ever, we will make it legal for companies to offer supplemental insurance plans specifically for fertility. That's never been done before. We're signing it in today with what we signed. Americans will be able to opt in to specialized coverage just as they get vision and dental insurance. They're going to get fertility insurance for the first time. So I don't know. I don't know how well these things are covered. I see the Democrats like to take credit for all of the things we do. We do the things and they take the credit. But I figure if you do enough of these, eventually people are going to figure it out. The Democrats have done nothing. This will make all fertility care, including IVF, far more affordable and accessible. And by providing coverage at every step of the way, it will reduce the number of people who ultimately need to resort to IVF because couples will be able to identify and address problems early. The result will be healthier pregnancies, healthier babies, and many more beautiful American children. It's a big factor. It's a big deal. I'm asking all employers to make these new fertility benefit options available to their employees immediately. The initiatives I've just announced are the boldest and most significant actions ever taken by any president to bring the miracle of life into more American homes.
He doesn't understand. He thinks that it's pro. He thinks it's pro-life. He thinks he must be. They must have never explained to him the side effect of having to destroy the embryos. And then you have the fact that there are people like homosexuals that use IVF, and they go through embryos, and they go like, okay, what color hair is that one going to turn out to be? And then the Mangala types that are working in these factories, these Aldous Huxley Brave New World baby IVF factories, go like, I'm pretty sure that this one looks like it has the genetic profile of a brunette. Now kill it. What's that one going to be, boy or girl? That one's going to be a girl. Kill it. Don't want it. What's that one going to be? That one's going to be a ginger red. Kill it. Make sure it never multiplies. People don't believe and don't understand what it is when they start babbling on endlessly about the wonders of IVF. And I'm not saying that, I just happen to have a child at IVF. Okay, that's fine. Hey, fine, fantastic. Congratulations. Hope she becomes or he becomes a saint. In the future, it should not happen. It also, by the way, and look, we all understand the impulse, especially for decent people that aren't informed the downfalls of it or the sinful dangers of it. What you got to do in order to get a successful IVF and the carnage that you leave behind you. We'll talk more about it when we come back.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Silk Feather. Ma'am, what would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll take the Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. and juice. I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus, and Ozempic was the name of a demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah, but besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles over lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me.
The Crusade Channel and the slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Mary Joseph with your Saint of the Day. Today is October 17th, the feast of Saint Margaret Mary, who died in 1690. Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque was a visitation nun who, in the year 1675, received from our Lord, who appeared to her out of the depths of the Blessed Sacrament, the assignment to be the great apostle of the public veneration of His most Sacred Heart. Her spiritual supporter and director was a saintly priest at the Society of Jesus, Saint Claude de la Colombière. He died 8 years before her. Our Lord told Saint Margaret Mary that He received in the Blessed Eucharist only irreverence and ingratitude. It was to her that our Lord made the request that the Friday after the octave of Corpus Christi be set aside as a special feast in honor of the Sacred Heart. It was to Saint Margaret Mary that Jesus made the request that Catholics receive Him in Holy Communion on each first Friday of the month and keep a holy hour on the night before the first Friday with the Blessed Sacrament exposed. The great apostles of the Feast of Corpus Christi and the Feast of the Sacred Heart were girls. Both were nuns. It was Blessed Juliana of Cornillon, an Augustinian nun who died in 1258 in Belgium, who was chosen by God to work for the institution of the Feast of Corpus Christi. It was Saint Margaret Mary, a visitation nun who died in 1690, who was chosen by God to work for the institution of the Feast of the Most Sacred Heart. Saint Margaret Mary, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the life of today's saint. Tomorrow's saint is Saint Luke. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters in the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Mary Joseph, and until next time, may God bless and Mary keep you.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
It's the I Love Lee Show, starring Lee, with special guest Jim.
Come on, dude, pick up.
Jim's Bait Shop.
Very boomer funny of you.
Yeah, I thought so too. What's up?
What was the name of the live talk radio thingy? You know, that show with the holy guy you were telling me about?
Talk radio, holy guy. I'm sure I have no idea.
Yeah, the guy's name rhymed with Lurch. He was talking about being holy or something.
Talking about... Oh, you mean Mike Church. He's not trying to be holy.
Yeah, he's also not trying to fake being holy. Anyway, I just came from the Lila Rose 2-for-1 podcast promotion, and I didn't make a dent in one, much less get two, and I need something cool to listen to on the 6-hour drive I have coming up.
Well, the KingDude's got you covered there.
So, you got the deets?
No, but my dad had shingles.
Oh, you're such a boomer! Deets, as in details, as in where and when do I find this guy?
I'm not a boomer, and his podcast is hiding in plain sight at this thing called a website at crusadechannel.com.
Why can't he just have a QR code?
Want me to come over there and type that in for you, Zoomer?
The Crusade Channel 4.0, one of life's simple pleasures.
Yeah, like hearing a tree beginning its journey to the paper mill.
Like paper over plastic, some things like the Crusade Channel.
And good old-fashioned live talk radio.
Never go out of style at crusadechannel.com.
Speaking of out of style, Jim, we need to talk about your hair.
What's the matter with my hair?
The 80s hair metal band's called, and they want their style back.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/KingDude. That's mypillow.com/KingDude.
I do feel, Reg, that any anti-imperialist group like ours must reflect such a divergence of interest within its power base.
Agreed. Francis? Yeah, I think Judith's point of view is very valid, Reg, provided the movement never forgets that it is the unalienable right of every man or woman to rid himself or herself. Agreed. Thank you, brother. Or sister. Where was I? I think you finished. Oh, right. Furthermore, it is the birthright of every man or woman. Why don't you shut up about women, Stan? You're putting us off.
Women have a perfect right to play a part in our movement, Reg.
Why are you always on about women, Stan?
I want to be one.
What?
I want to be a woman. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta.
What?
It's my right as a man.
Well, why do you want to be Loretta, Stan?
I want to have babies.
You want to have babies?
It's every man's right to have babies if he wants them.
But you can't have babies.
Don't you oppress me.
I'm not oppressing you, Stan. You haven't got a womb. Where's the fetus going to gestate? You're going to keep it in a box?
Here, I've got an idea. Suppose you agree that he can't actually have babies, not having a womb, which is nobody's fault, not even the Romans, but that he can have the right to have babies.
Good idea, Judith. We shall fight the oppressors for your right to have babies, brother. Sister, sorry. What's the point? What? What's the point of fighting for his right to have babies when he can't have babies? It is symbolic of our struggle against oppression.
Symbolic of his struggle against reality.
No, Groot, don't do that! So this song is like a Schaefer repellent. It's impossible to go cynical. The end of the world is nigh. The end is near with your little sign. None of it matters. We're all screwed and hosed anyways. Listening to Groot. Listening to ELO and watching Baby Groot dance to Mr. Blue Skies. Speaking of blue skies, Here's a headline for you just out today. King Charles and Pope Leo to make histoire. Sorry for you French-speaking people, but that's l'histoire. With prayers together at the Vatican. Charles will be the first British monarch to participate in a Catholic Mass publicly since Henry VIII. Says here, according to the Times of London, Chuck will make a state visit with the Queen to the Vatican next week for a first meeting with Leo XIV, a trip designed to carry strong symbolism of warming relations twixt Anglican and Catholic churches. That's interesting, since there is no Anglican church. It's over. Everyone in England knows it's over. Is this Charles coming to the realization that with your angry, ugly, feminist, whatever she is, siren, becoming allegedly the Archbishop of Canterbury, that your church means absolutely nothing anymore? And it's, look, the Catholic Church has got problems. Oh, yeah. big problems. But it ain't the Anglican Church. It's also being hailed as evidence of growing friendliness twixt the British monarchy and the papacy almost 500 years after Henry VIII was excommunicated by Pope Paul III for breaking with the Church of England's ties with Rome. Anglican priests will take part in the ecumenical service at the Sistine Chapel. I thought I saw that it was a mass. I guess it's not. Okay, much ado about nothing then. Can someone tell me, that is, maybe your brother Andre is listening, shoot me a note and explain this to me, brother. What is a Catholic ecumenical service? I'm not familiar with that. It's either a mass or it's not. And you're going to have it in the Sistine Chapel? That almost sounds blasphemous to me. Let's see. The king attending, the governor of the Church of England will all be the...
Did you see the focus?
No.
Theme focus. It's a focus theme of care for creation.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Will be the first British monarch since the Reformation to attend a service at the papal basilica. You know, this is what I can't stand about this. A mass is not a service. We don't have services. We have the holy sacrifice of the mass. Don't ever, if you're to, we go to services. It's not a service. It's a mass. And it always has been. The service will be at the Papal Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls, where St. Paul's tomb is located, so named because it lies outside the historic boundaries of the Holy See. The basilica has ties to ancient to English rulers, Saxon kings, including Offa of Mercia in the 8th century, and Aethelwulf of Wessex in the 9th, sent money to Rome to pay for the upkeep of St. Paul's and St. Peter's tombs. Ultimately focusing on Paul's tomb, Henry VIII was also named honorary canon of the basilica in the 16th century.
So maybe he'll bless dirt instead of ice?
Pope will also grant the king his own dedicated seat at the basilica bearing his coat of arms. King will use the seat for the service next week, and it will remain permanently at the basilica for future use by His Majesty and his heirs and successors. Not if you're going to... what is... I don't understand this. KingDude, it's high statecraft diplomacy. Well, why can't Charles be diplomatic and attend the Mass of Rome? It's called the Latin Rite, the Roman Rite, for a reason. You know what? You're not stealing my joy. I'm just going to stick with the headline. There's nothing else I can do about the rest of it. Why? The trip coincides with the Catholic Church's Jubilee year. Celebration held every 25 years. King and the Queen met Pope Francis shortly before his death. Queen will remain in the Sistine Chapel after the service to meet members of the Sistine Chapel Choir and the choir of St. George's Chapel, Windsor, who will sing at the service. So I guess what they're going to have elements of the abominable Anglican ritual or whatever the heck they call it. And then the Latin rites. We're going to have alternating scholas. One's going to sing heresy hits. The other's going to sing St. Thomas. Someday, we probably won't be around. The Catholic Church is going to snap out of this self-imposed irrelevance and novelty. It's silly. It's almost like Pope Leo XIV feels compelled to carry on the ridiculous antics and traditions of his predecessor. And I don't even like talking about this because I'm in no position to do anything about it other than pray for him, and I do. Pray, hope, and don't worry, right? But some of it's just why? It just makes you scream out loud, why? What made you do this? So, in any event, CrusadeChannel.com/donate. We've fallen off the cliff with donations, so keep them coming in the chat room. Let's go back to the digital media files. Trump is asked about the Bolton indictment. This is an interesting... he claims he didn't know about it. He might not have. Play number 3. Digital media file number 3, please.
Indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You told me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but... That's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person. Okay, anybody else?
Okay, anybody have any serious questions for me? Because you're stupid, okay? Move.
He's just a bad person.
Well, he was a bad person. He's an awful person. Okay, RFK Jr., I thought this was interesting. And not only is it interesting, it is something that has to be addressed. And I'm not sure how you address it other than by, it just takes leadership at the top. This is what I was talking about the other day when I said I do not... if there is going to be a moral revival, a moral and intellectual revival, then it is going to have to go, then the people that are going to have to lead it are, heaven forfend, millennials. I don't think millennials are capable. You can hope. After millennials, it's what, the X's? And then after X, it's Y, or then after Y, it's Z. I forget the generations. It's going to have to be young men who are rooted and grounded in the faith. And not just rooted and grounded in the faith, but rooted and grounded in the traditions of the faith. Because why does something become traditional again? Becomes traditional because primarily it generates human flourishing. It leads to human flourishing. So people go like, hey, you want to keep doing that, whatever that is. It led to this, and that's a good thing. Here's RFK on the fertility rate. Now, what is the natural and supernatural salve to the declining fertility or to infertility? Now, there may be some environmental factors that have to be dealt with, too. And maybe RFK Jr. and HHS are going to deal with that. Okay. What is one of the things that would knock out some of the infertility or the lack of fertility? Grace Emily Stark, Babies make families. Start families. What do you need to start families? Stability. Are we trying to get to a place of stability? I think we are. Well, at least I think the Trump administration has given it the greatest try since Reagan tried it. Young men have to be assured that, okay, so I'm going to go into this field and I can do this pretty much for as long as I wish. Well, now, yeah, I can court a woman, or I can find a wife or whatever, and we can get married and start a family the way our ancestors did. This isn't hard to figure out. We act like, okay, there's got to be a formula here. Here, give me the whiteboard. And you got the guy up there with the red marker and another dude with the blue marker, and they're up there and they're doing equals and cosines and sins, and then squared and square roots and whatever. No. X, Y, get together, bam, baby. RFK Jr.
Thank you for your vision, your commitment to our country. When my uncle was president, the fertility rate in this country was 3.5%. Today, it is 1.6%. The replacement rate, in other words, the amount of fertility that you need in order to keep your population even, is 2.1%. We are below replacement right now. That is a national security threat to our country.
That's true.
And we know why this is happening. And President Trump is addressing the root causes through his MAHA agenda of reducing endocrine disruptors, the exposure to chemicals that decrease fertility.
Endocrine disruptors. I will wager you that Dick Levine, the deranged transsexual lunatic wacko, who was previously the HHS secretary, couldn't spell endocrine disruptors, much less know what they are, much less do anything about them. Okay, here's a federal prosecutor talking about John Bauman Bolton's indictment. So if you think that, okay, get the graphic out, get the watch out. No one has been arrested and indicted yet. Bolton has, and these are the charges against him explained.
There's no statute of limitations on this. He continued to possess classified documents.
Yeah, Will, I'll tell you, I've worked on these cases both on the prosecution side and on the defense side, and I'll tell you they are very difficult cases to defend against because it is, in essence, a simple analysis. Is the document classified? Is it in your possession? Did you purposefully possess the document in question? And then you reach other analyses. You look at what was the purpose for the possession to determine whether or not additional charges may be brought. Remember, though, I'm very mindful of the fact that Bolton has a lot of knowledge and a lot of insight. There's may be an effort to also get his attention and get him talking about other things that he may have information about. This is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. I think it's a difficult case to defend against. He, of all people, should know. Doesn't matter if it's old or new materials. If it's classified and you possessed it, then it could be a crime.
So we should what? Look forward to a jail cell photo of John Bauman Bolton with a 60-pound ball chained to his left ankle. I think in order to deter crime, I think we should bring back the ball and chain. You know, I love just the image of the prisoners in the striped suits that are out there on the side of the road with a pickaxe in their hand, like in Cool Hand Luke. And the guy that's out there with the shotgun and on the horseback is really not worried about them because they have a 60, I forget how much it weighs. Maybe it weighs more than that. A 60-pound cannonball chained to their left leg. I think it's the left leg. Whatever leg it's chained to, it doesn't matter. And so if you're going to move, and they give you like 3 feet of chain or whatever, or however long. So if you're going to move, then you're going to have to pick the ball up and carry it. This is the point. Now, I suppose if someone's been training, could carry a iron ball for some distance, but you're not going to be able to carry that very far. And you're certainly not going to be able to run at a decent speed away from a guy on horseback with it. This, to me, would do more to deter violent and other crimes in America if we started shackling balls and chains to prisoners now, so that when people came to visit, my baby didn't do that, my baby didn't do that. Yeah, your baby did. Your baby absolutely did. And look, that ball and chain says he's staying here. This ain't going to be a NOLA jail breakout.
They finally caught that last one.
Yeah, they did catch him. Well, that was last week when they caught him, right? You didn't put any of the Crowder stuff on there. I know you asked me about it. I just thought it was now who is that? Why, someone with a ball and chain? All right, plain Maltetia James. Speaking of balls and chains and indictments, this woman, this creature. Of course she's prideful. Those are little chains. That's a little ball. I want a big one. That's a little shot put ball.
Well, tell Google.
Yeah. Maltetia.
Would say what she said. But first of all, the decision was based on the Administrative Procedure Act, an arbitrary and capricious act by this agency, an unlawful act. And so too is the indictment. It's baseless.
Stop the tape for just a moment. An act of a legislature that was passed and signed by a governor or president, by definition, is not unlawful. Nope. Who in the hell are you? I thought you were the attorney general and you enforce the laws. You don't get to write them, and you don't get to pick and choose. Well, I'm not going to enforce that one because I don't like it. That's not how attorney general works, as you should know, since you had to invent charges to throw at Trump. Boy, this prideful witch. Ma'am, I hope they build a cell for you that's under the water line so it continues to fill up a water. No, play the rest of it. American people want to hear.
Retribution. Retribution for basically doing my job. For doing my job following a 2-year investigation in a congressional hearing. It wasn't political. It was based on facts and the application of the evidence. And the judgment was sustained. The amount of the disgorgement was what was dismissed. But the judgment remains. And so at this point in time, we will vigorously defend those charges, those baseless charges.
Yeah, you go ahead.
And my arraignment, as you know, is next Friday. I visit Norfolk quite frequently. My family is in Norfolk. I love my family, and I will...
Oh,
whatever. Jail! You may not believe it, but Bram Stoker's Dracula may be a work of non-fiction.
What? That's scarier than getting stuck in an elevator with Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, good grief. Really? Come on, I'm trying to be serious here.
Okay. Hear it and other amazing tales on Turley's Believe It or Else, 10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Tuesday on the Crusade Channel. Our app and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu Seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all 3 spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the KingDude offers you is personal money-back guaranteed of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a KingDude Seasoning Trilogy today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you know you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
You're
listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via CrusadeChannel.com.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust. Because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Friday, October 17th, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Channel News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that's won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Senate Democrats block GOP plan for 10th time, ensuring shutdown lasts into the week. Ex-National Security Advisor John Bolton indicted with improper handling of classified documents. Trump and Putin plan Hungary meeting on Ukraine war, and Trump's dismantling all the fake green companies that Biden and Obama erected. Senate Democrats, for 10th time, blocked Republicans' attempts to reopen the government and have ensured that the shutdown goes into next week. That's because after one final vote series later on Thursday, lawmakers were set to leave Washington, D.C. for another long weekend after just 3 short days on the Hill. It appears neither the Republicans nor the Democrats are willing to come to an agreement, and talks between both sides, though largely informal, have started to fade. Speaker Mike Johnson accused the Democratic Party of being taken over by far-left Marxists. Former White House National Security Advisor John Bolton was indicted yesterday on 18 counts related to the improper handling of classified materials. According to the indictment, Bolton was indicted on 8 counts of transmission of national defense information and 10 counts of retention of national defense information. President Donald Trump on Thursday said he'll meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Hungary in the coming weeks, after first he meets with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in D.C. today. In a post on his social media platform, Truth Social, Trump said, "A meeting of our high-level advisors led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio will meet next week, though the destination has not yet been confirmed. President Putin and I will then meet in an agreed-upon location, Budapest, Hungary, to see if we can bring this inglorious war between Russia and Ukraine to an end." He said, "President Zelensky and I will be meeting tomorrow in the Oval Office, where we will discuss my conversation with President Putin and much more. I believe great progress was made with today's telephone conversation." Our quote of the day: "Nothing, how little soever it be, if it is suffered for God's sake, can pass without merit in the sight of God." St. Thomas à Kempis. And our saint of the day, a nun who aroused the church to a realization of the love of God symbolized by the heart of Jesus, was called an impostor for it, coming up. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. Now in our 9th year, Crusade Channel News is simply the best daily newscast on all of radio.
News that informs and inspires and doesn't destroy any critical thinking brain cells.
Catch it at 6, 8, and 3 p.m. on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and news radio.
The way it should be.
Our saint of the day is Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque. Her early years were marked by sickness and a painful home situation caused by her mother's suffering. After considering marriage for some time, Mary Margaret entered the Order of the Visitation Nuns at the age of 24. A visitation nun was not to be extraordinary except by being ordinary. On December 21st of 1674, 3 years a nun, she received the first of her revelations. During the next 13 months, Christ appeared to her at intervals. His human heart was to be the symbol of his divine human love. By her own love, Margaret Mary was to make up for the coldness and ingratitude of the world by frequent and loving Holy Communion, especially on the first Friday of each month, and by an hour's vigil of prayer every Thursday night in memory of his agony and isolation in Gethsemane. But her gift of holiness caused some of her own sisters to be hostile. Theologians declared her visions delusions. Later, parents of children she taught called her an impostor, an unorthodox innovator. A new confessor, the Jesuit Claude de la Colombière, recognized her genuineness and supported her. After serving as a novice mistress and assistant superior, Margaret Mary died at the age of 43. While being anointed, she said, "I need nothing but God, and to lose myself in the heart of Jesus." Now that the biggest embezzling politicians to ever walk the face of the earth are out of positions of power, the USA under Trump is slowly reclaiming the money that was wasted and pocketed on Ponzi schemes like solar and wind power front companies, according to Natural News. The Trump administration has officially halted progress on one of Nevada's largest proposed solar developments, the Esmeralda 7 solar project, marking another major blow to the renewable energy sector under President Donald Trump's renewed term. The decision underscores the administration's sweeping efforts to unwind Biden-era clean energy initiatives. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news, finding truth.
It's the WWE and the UFC for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio the way it should be.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Oh, well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
And now more of what you bought your Founders Pass membership for. The Free Phone Friday edition of the Mike Church Show, the last live talk radio show standing, a crusade for truth, coming up on year number 10. What a joyous occasion that's going to be. Well, depending on whose side you're on, or going to make you miserable and mad. But remember, folks.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, you know, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Friday.
It's free phone.
Friday.
It's free phone.
Yes, it is a free phone Friday. Today you are charged with the task of telling us what it is you should talk about on the program. That requires a phone call. You gotta use one of these guys. Call me sometime when you have no class. Oh, hi. See how that works? You pick that thing up and you go 844-527-8723. And then magic things will happen. A phone will ring on the other end. You'll get a trill. Ring. Which Lily Tomlin used to do on Saturday Night Live. Ring one ringy dingy. Two ringy dingies. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Pass membership service. Now, look, we tried this once before. We're going to relaunch it. We're going to try it again because some of you actually did give a lot of gift memberships away. And we believe, we were talking about this in our little marketing meeting yesterday afternoon. We believe that what the end result of some of those giveaways were is that you gave them to people, even with the fancy little thing that we sent out that Christmas. Remember, we had I signed it with the fountain pen, all the certificates of authenticity. You were invited to this new era in radio and TV broadcasting, and you get it free for either a year or a month, or I think it was 3 months and a year. What ultimately happened was apathy. You got to get people to go to the site, claim their gift membership. Even though, basically you're sending them a link to do so. And all they really have to do is click it and just claim it, basically. We're going to try and eliminate one of those because it's such a difficult task, we realize. So we're going to try to make it one click. And so that it works on the app. So you can just hand them the phone, say, download the app. Okay, you downloaded the app. Proceed as gift member guest. And then it'll take you directly to. We're going to work on it. We're going to make it. So in any event, if you're not a Founders Pass member and you are listening to this somehow, you should become one today and join. Help us get back. I know this number sounds. Help us get back to where we once were. So we need to sign up 100 people Twix now and November the 11th. Is that you? And if you just want to send a gift membership, is it in the? No, you'd have to send Melissa or me an email, and we could send you the link directly. And basically, you just tick the box that says this is a gift member. You know what? No, on that one, you don't even have to do that. You just fill it out. You fill out the name of the person, their email address. For extra credit, you can throw their phone number in there. Pay the $10, and then you're off to the races. So hopefully, when we roll that out, many of you will do it. Meanwhile, check your Founders Pass. We always encourage people, go to crusadechannel.com, log in, and check my account. Make sure your card is updated, and consider an upgrade. For example, if you're paying $4.95 for a monthly membership, that thing is now $15. You want to upgrade? We would love for you to get current with your payment level. Again, just send an email through the contact form to either me or Melissa, my sister, and we will get that taken care of for you. So, crusadechannel.com, log in my account and check that. You can also update your credit card and all that stuff there. We were playing digital media files last segment and talking about fertility. Bobby Kennedy was talking about. Did we finish the Kennedy bit? I think you just about got to the end of it. Talking about how the replacement rate is 2.1 and we're at 1.6. And some people believe it's the endocrine blockers that are the fault of this. It is also, you're on like the fourth generation of young women who have taught the finer, dark, sinful, awful art of birth control. There is simply no avoiding it. The reason why we have this soundbite is because of birth control.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs.
Freaking frogs.
It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay.
Frogs! Why did the frogs turn gay? Because at the University of Colorado, so many young women were going to the school that were on Ortho Novum or whatever other birth control pill that they were peeing. I'm not trying to be vulgar. They were peeing we're doing with their business, and the filtration systems can't filter out those hormones created by the pill, or by the use of the pill, that the frogs then drink the water, and all of a sudden, was it the female frog that turned a lesbo, or the male frog that turned a homo? I think it was the guy frog that turned a homo. The guy frog's like, oh, yeah, female. Oh, yeah, she's really hot. Oh, yeah, not interested. Hi, Eddie. So the biologists for the state of Colorado started studying this, and they go, holy moly. The concentration in the water is almost like lethal. And then they started, well, how did that happen? That's how they figured out the birth control. Of course, nothing ever got done about it. You try and inadvertently dump a quart of motor oil into an estuary, and you will go to jail for the rest of your life. Let's just say you spilled some oil on your lawn and it wound up in the water supply. If they found out it was you, they would go after you, take your property and everything. But you want to pour tens of billions of gallons of water tainted with hormones, destructive to the reproductive cycle of humans and frogs. Hormones, well, then go ahead and do that. You can destroy all the frogs you want and all the frog habitat. That's fine. Just don't dump any motor oil in it. And I'm not saying you should dump motor oil, and I don't want to. I'm just making a comparison. So we have all that happening. I found this little essay. This is Helen Andrews at compactmag.com. Now, she gave a talk, let's see, when is this? September the 14th. Helen Andrews, Overcoming the Feminization of Culture. She gave the talk at NatCon 5, some big hoop-de-doo convention that I never get invited to. People like me never get invited to. I was able to skim some of this. It's, I think, worth a read. In 2019, I read an article that has everything to do with fertility and where we are with this and birth control. You know, as our beloved brother Andre Marie tells us in several episodes of Reconquest and in interviews here on the Mike Church Show, if you have a legalized birth control contraception, if you will, contraception mandate, you're going to have abortions. There just simply is no way around it. The two are inextricably linked. So if you have a regime of birth control or contraception, you're going to have abortions. That's just the way it is. So you might recall that contraception was illegal in many states. Thus the, what was it, not the Loving case, Griswold versus Connecticut case. And, of course, the women libbers and the sirens and the witches and the man-haters and the pagans all celebrated this. It's the greatest thing that ever happened. What, the end of human flourishing and reproduction is the greatest thing that ever happened? In 2019, I read an article about Larry Summers in Harvard that changed the way I look at the world. The author, writing under the pseudonym J. Stone, argued that the day Larry Summers resigned as president of Harvard University marked a turning point in our culture. The entire woke era could be extrapolated from that one moment. From the details of how Summers was canceled, and most of all, who did the canceling? Women. By the way, and this is not a commentary on Winsome Earl Sears. I like Winsome Earl Sears. The people of Virginia couldn't find a single man to run for governor as a Democrat and a governor as a Republican. If my old buddy James Cohen of the Virginia Republican Party is listening, dude, WTH, bro. What the? The basic facts of the Summers case were familiar to me. On January 14, 2005, at a conference on diversifying the science and engineering workforce, Larry Summers gave a talk that was supposed to be off the record. In it, he said that female underrepresentation in hard sciences was partly due to different availability of aptitude at the high end, as well as taste differences between twixt men and women, not attributable to socialization. Some female professors in attendance were offended and sent his remarks to a reporter. In defiance of the off-the-record rule, the ensuing scandal led to a no-confidence vote by Harvard faculty and eventually Summers' resignation. The essay argued that it wasn't just that women had canceled the president of Harvard, it was that they'd canceled him in a very feminine way. The hell is that? They made emotional appeals rather than logical arguments. There we go. And that is the crux of it. That's the long and the short.
That's the feminine way.
That's the feminine way. And we love it. Just not in our legal, political, and existential affairs. You can't run civilizations with emotions. You get people killed. Lots of them.
See Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, see Hillary Clinton. When he started talking about innate differences in between twixt men and women, I just couldn't breathe because this kind of bias makes me physically ill, said Nancy Hopkins, a biologist at MIT. Summers made a public statement to clarifying his remarks, and then another, and then a third, with the apology more insistent each time. The first mistake you made, Lars, was apologizing. You can't ever apologize unless you have scandalized someone or committed an actual sin in the course of what you did. Then my advice is you don't have to apologize to anyone other than the person that you committed an injustice against. If it is a civilization injustice and what he said was not, well, then I suppose you could, out of charity, you could just claim it, and you could say, well, look, I just want to let everyone know that, I was trying to quote this, I quoted that, and I got part of it wrong. Okay, fine. You start making apologies to these people, and it's over. You'll lose. And he did. These rational appeals had no effect on the mob hysteria. This cancellation was feminine, the essay argued, because all cancellations are feminine. Cancel culture is simply what women do whenever there are enough of them in a given organization or field. That is the great feminization thesis, which the same author later elaborated upon at book length. Everything you think of as wokeness is simply an phenomenon of demographic feminization. In other words, it's all women's fault. The explanatory power of this simple thesis was incredible. It really did unlock the secrets of the era we are living in. Wokeness is not a new ideology, an outgrowth of Marxism, or a result of post-Obama disillusionment. It is simply feminine patterns of behavior applied to institutions where women were few in number until recently. How did I not see it before? Possibly because, like most people, I think of feminization as something that happened in the past before I was born. When we think about women in the legal profession, for example, we think of the first woman to attend law school, 1869. First woman to argue a case for the SCOTUS, 1880. Or the first female Supreme Court Justice, 1981. And who was that, by the way? Who was that and why was that? It was Sandra O'Connor, or as she became known, Sandra Day O'Connor. And it was because Ronald Reagan was told by Ed Meese and some other future wokesters around him, people that were principally wrong, not that Meese was wrong on anything else. We need a woman in the cabinet. You said we need a woman on the SCOTUS, Mr. President, and you could be the president that does it. And Reagan went, well, I guess I could. Is she conservative? Of course, she turned out to be a disaster. Emotion. Almost every case that O'Connor got wrong, emotion. Just like Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Ketanji has feminism and race.
Yeah, except Ketanji Brown Jackson has feminism and wokeness and race, or feminism and race. The same trajectory can be a much more important tipping point is when law schools became majority female, which occurred in 2016, or when law firm associates became majority female, which occurred in 2023. When Sandra Day O'Connor was appointed to the High Court, only 5% of judges were female. Today, women are 33% of the judges in America, and 63% of the judges appointed by Biden. They don't have anything else to do? No. The same trajectory can be seen in many professions. A pioneering generation of women in the 1960s and 70s, increasing female representation through the 80s and 90s, and gender parity finally arriving, at least in the younger cohorts, in the 10s and the 20s. In 1974, only 10% of New York Times reporters were female. The Times staff became majority female in 2018, and today's female share is 55%. And it shows. Medical schools became majority female in 2019. Women became a majority of the college-educated workforce nationwide in 2019. Women became a majority of college instructors in 2023. Women are not yet a majority of the managers in America, but they might soon be, as they are now 46%. Can you imagine women running every retail trade store? Cracker Barrel. Look at the multi-bazillion-dollar disasters. Bud Light, Target, Cracker Barrel, and others. These weren't miscalculations. These were feminizations. These were women who emotionally, not practically, not sensibly, were leading their companies because, well, we have to have women leading. Can you explain to me why? Well, because women. This is, it's going to get worse, folks. It's going to get worse. Now you've got all of them out there, and they all think they should be president. All of them. The substance fits, too. Everything you think of as wokeness involves prioritizing the feminine over the masculine. Empathy over rationality. Safety over risk. Cohesion over competition. That's right. We don't want to... there is some of the competition that is left out there because some women are literally kill or be killed types. Mainly because they think that they've staked out a territory and they have to kill the next broad that's in line who's trying to put a dagger into their back. Watch the TV show. Watch the show on Apple TV, the morning show, for some of this. You could see some of this. The most relevant differences are not about individuals, but about groups. In my experience, group individuals, where individuals are unique and you come across outliers who defy stereotypes every day. But groups of men and women display consistent differences, she says. Which makes sense. If you think about it statistically, a random woman might be taller than a random man, but a group of 10 random women is unlikely to have an average height. All right, we'll pick up on the other side.
Remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, October 17th, 2025. This report brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that's won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow closed down again, 0.65%. The S&P along with it, 0.63%. NASDAQ also dropped 0.47%. Today is National Pasta Day. We find noodles all over the world. Pasta, a type of noodle of traditional Italian cuisine. The first reference dates to 1154 in Sicily. It was first attested to in English in 1874. Typically made from unleavened dough or durum wheat flour. The flour is mixed with water or eggs and formed into sheets or various shapes. It's National Mulligan Day. In golf, a mulligan happens when a player gets a second chance to perform a specific move or action. It's Black Poetry Day, Mammography Day, and National Edge Day, celebrating a conscious choice to live free from alcohol, tobacco, and recreational drugs. Our quote of the day, nothing how little soever it be, if it is suffered for God's sake, can pass without merit in the sight of God. Thomas à Kempis. And our saint of the day is Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
This is a pixel. Now, if you put a couple of million of these dudes together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 160 billion of them together, and you've got Nina Gaynor's A Garden for Mary children's book. But it doesn't smell like a book. And it'll burn teeny little holes in your kids' teeny little corneas. So is the pixel really their friend? That's right, Groot. No. But the Founders Trading Post is their friend. And we have actual books with actual kind of kid-smelly pages and pictures, because kids lack in pictures. Plus, our little bookstore has everything the kids' parents expect. Yep, we got the Beast and Butt Rubs, but nope, there is no Helen Reddy played here.
Pick up a copy of Garden for Mary, plus dozens of other Catholic children's books titles at shop.mikechurch.com. Only the Crusade Channel brings you the Saint of the Day read by actual nuns.
Really? Our sisters are actual sisters?
Yes, and you can catch their heavenly voices announcing the Saint of the Day on the Crusade Channel.
Oh, you boomers and your live broadcasts. I'm a busy girl. Sure, I'm very important only in my own mind, but can I get them as podcasts?
I'm not a boomer. And yes, all Saint of the Day recordings are available as mini podcasts on our app and at crusadechannel.com.
I see saintly binge listening in my future. I feel holier already.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Music loud, women warm, I've been kicked around since I was born.
Bartiromo standing behind Trump right there. Welcome back, Free Phone Friday. Yay! This is the Mike Church Show, the longest-running, long-form, continual radio talk show program on air anywhere in the world. Staying alive in too much heaven here today on a Friday. Glad to have you with us. Contribute to our equipment fundraiser. We're more than halfway there, folks, in just 3 days. Thank you. I got a request from a crusader and a very regular and a very generous donor to restore the Bee Gees Super Medley. Now, in order to keep him happy and not restore the Bee Gees Super Medley, if you don't want to hear it, and that's most of you, I don't know what's wrong with your ears, but something. She likes the Bee Gees when it's not a super medley and I'm not around.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. You have a CD in your CD case. You have the Bee Gees 1.
When's the last time I looked at that CD case? Number one. Number two, that CD case is from when I was in high school and I rode around in my red Hyundai listening to CDs.
How come the other day you were running around going, "If we got nothing to be guilty of"? That's a Streisand song. It's a Bee Gees song.
Because you jacked up my Amazon playlist by playing the Bee Gees all the time during the show.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
People know the truth.
No, you make the mistake of people that think people want the truth. People don't want the truth. They do not. Okay? So, if you don't want the Bee Gees Super Medley to return, well then, you're going to have to, because I got to keep the really great donor happy. And he wants the Bee Gees Super Medley. So... some earplugs so you're going to have to offset his potential donations, because I don't want to go like, dude, they donated a lot of money to stop the Bee Gees Super Medley. So I'm going to give it another week pause today, but if I don't see the donations coming in, next week it's on. And I might spring it on you in the first hour. Well, I just want to listen to that. Okay, well, go ahead and play that game. All right, you do that. I encourage you to read the remainder of the piece that we were reading from, what's her name? Helen Andrews at Compact Mag. About what has gone wrong in America, and it is feminization. Just as the Mike Church Show, without having heard this talk, and it sounds like it's a good one because this is basically the text version of the talk that she gave at NatCon. And I think that, and we're not trying to make scapegoats out of people. We don't want internment camps for the women that participated in this and the panty-waisted, left-hard, weak, and ineffective men that are responsible for it. We just want it to end. You gotta stop the bleeding. That's the point. So, if you read all the way down to the end of Helen Andrews' piece, in the second part, you get the threat posed by wokeness can be large or small, depending on the industry. It's sad that English departments are all feminized now, but most people's daily lives are unaffected by it. Other fields matter more. You know what's going to happen? Those English departments are all going to close. They're all going to close. The places where the women have taken over, they're either going to go bankrupt, or they're going to fire all the decent people that are working there because they're not woke, or the students are just going to go, screw that. You know what? I can find me a community college. Hell, I could take grammar online now. I don't need to be brainwashed and yelled at by a guilt-tripping member of Al-Qaeda. Then she says, the field that frightens me the most is the law. All of us depend on a functioning legal system, and to be blunt, the rule of law will not survive the legal profession becoming majority female. That is a profound statement there. The rule of the law is not just about writing rules down. It means following them even when they yield an outcome that tug at your heartstrings or runs contrary to your gut sense of which party is more sympathetic. A feminized legal system might resemble the Title IX courts for sexual assault on college campi established in 2011 under Obama. Remember date rape? Remember the Duke lacrosse team? Did anyone ever, was there ever a single solitary female that was able to convince a jury that the Duke lacrosse team did what was alleged that they did? And look, I can't stand Duke University, so it's not an apology for a Duke. And then she says that these proceedings were governed by written rules and so technically could be said to operate under the rule of law, but they lacked many of the safeguards that our legal system holds sacred, such as the right to confront your accuser, the right to know what crime you are accused of. And those boys were never even allowed to confront their accuser, remember? The right to know what crime you're accused of, and the fundamental concept that guilt should depend on objective circumstances knowable by both parties, not in how one party feels about an act in retrospect. Well, I feel like you raped me. Well, I was there, and I can tell you the night it happened, you didn't feel like that. How that might go. If the legal profession becomes majority female, I expect to see the ethos of Title IX tribunals and the Kavanaugh hearings spread. Judges will bend the rules for favored groups and enforce them rigorously on disfavored groups, as already occurs to a worrying extent. It was possible to believe back in 1970 that introducing women into the legal profession in large numbers would have only a minor effect. That belief is no longer sustainable. The changes will be massive. And here will be the end result of that. Vigilante justice. Vigilante justice and just straight up civil disobedience. If real men start coming back in real numbers and start asserting themselves, and these broads start getting all emotional and basically trying to outlaw them from the bench, pick a side, because there's going to be conflict. And as it should be. And if the women can't find enough limp-wristed homos to fight on their side, then the real men are ultimately going to triumph, and they're going to be chased from the battlefield, as it should be. What should happen now is what men remain in the legal profession should heed Helen Andrews' warnings and others, and should say right now, we need to start clearing the deck now. Sorry, Mrs. 48-year-old, childless, single, angry, ugly cat lady, you're not making partner. We're not. As a matter of fact, you're being demoted. Go back to the filing cabinet. You make a great paralegal. Now get out. Minister, please, you can't do that. Tough love, baby. She's right. You. If women get a hold, get in control of judicial power. Which is why when I see women running for judges, I don't care how conservative you tell me you are, I am not voting for you. If Amy Coney Barrett came knocked on my door and said, I'm running for circuit court judge of St. Tammany Parish, well, that's nice. Hey, thank you for stopping by. Can I get a selfie? Soon as she leaves, yes, opponent of Amy Coney Barrett, yeah, I'm sending you $1,000 or whatever. There's a book that she references, Dahlia Lithwick's Lady Justice, Women, the Law, and the Battle to Save America, was seen from the Supreme Court in 2016 during oral arguments over a Texas abortion law. The three female justices, Ginsburg, Sotomayor, and Kagan, ignored the formal time limits. And you saw this just 2 days ago. You saw this. You saw Ketanji Brown Jackson droning on endlessly, asking questions about things that had nothing to do with the case.
I'm so tired of hearing this girl power.
Girl power. What is this? An episode of the Powerpuff Girls? Which one are you, Blossom? And then she concludes, as a woman myself, I am grateful for the opportunities I have had to pursue a career in writing and editing. Thankfully, I don't think solving the feminization problem requires us to shut any doors in women's faces. I do. We simply have to restore fair rules. Well, see, that you're speaking now as a broad. That's what a broad would say. Miniature, please, respect. No respect. Get out. We simply have to restore fair rules. What is a fair rule? You're destroying your own argument. Right now, we have a nominally meritocratic system, in which it is illegal for women to lose. Let's make hiring meritocratic and substance and not just name, and we will see how it shakes out. Make it legal to have a masculine office culture again. Okay, she's okay. Remove the HR lady's veto power. The HR lady. Can we just all agree that we're just going to remove the HR department? Get rid of it. What does it do? It screws things up. I think people will be surprised to discover how much of our current feminization is attributable to institutional changes like the advent of HR, which were brought about by legal changes and which legal changes can reverse. Because after all, I am not just a woman, I am also someone with a lot of disagreeable opinions who will find it hard to flourish if society becomes more conflict-averse and consensus-driven. I am the mother of sons who will never reach their full potential if they have to grow up in a feminized world. We all are, dependent on institutions like the legal system, scientific research, and democratic politics that support the American way of life, and we will all suffer if they cease to perform the tasks they were designed to do. In Animal House, Dean Wormer said, "Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son." Skinny, drunk with power, and barren women is no way to go through life. Okay, who won the debate last night? Before we go to Maggie, let's play a clip. 9. Zoran, the magnificent Kami Mandani versus Cuomo. Oh, by the way, we have to have free buses for all. Get this. Because... You want 8 or you want... Oh, wait. Is there 8? Oh, yeah. You got to do 8. My bad. My B.
8's the big one.
Yeah, 8 is the one where, Cuomo hasn't visited mosques. He can't be mayor of New York because New York is now a majority Muslim city. No, it's not.
Candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality, and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except, that is totally false. I worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here. They were
before I was here.
before you were even in state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Imams presided over State of the States. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen.
Hey, Zoran, the magnificent Kami Mamdani, how many Catholic churches have you visited?
Do you know the names?
Do you know the name of them? Give me one. So Magdalene Rose, this guy just revealed himself as a demagogue. He's no different than any other communist, any other wannabe little socialist dictator. Take what someone else has and give it to your favorite group. But now we know that his favorite group is going to be Muslims.
And I think that a lot of this comes down to the fact that Curtis Sewa refuses to drop out of that race. And I just looked at all the recent polling and all the comments around it. And if Curtis Sewa dropped out, Andrew Cuomo could get up to a 12% bump because that's where Curtis Sewa is trending. The selfishness by Curtis Sewa to then say, oh, I won that debate, I did all these things. You're doing nothing. You're doing nothing except allowing or really facilitating an extremist Muslim becoming mayor of New York City.
Oh, and make no mistake about it, this guy is a fire-breathing Sharia law lunatic. Not only that, Maggie, you have to play the one about the buses. Folks, you have to hear this. Well, why do you care about New York City? I don't. I just don't want the contagion to spread. And so, okay, all right, why do we have to have free buses for all in New York? Well, this is why.
Is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares. And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
We're going to.
So you're going to tax the rich, as they say, so that bus riders do not have to pay the bus fare, which is $2.90. And his claim is that there are too many bus drivers who have been beaten up by riders who don't have bus fare. And if we eliminate the bus fare, that takes care of the problem. Don't you think that you have a problem with violent bus riders?
It's insanity. It's insanity. And the idea that like right-wing Republicans are the ones beating up these bus drivers, if this is even happening, is also not true. If anyone's beating up these bus drivers because they don't have the fare, it's illegal migrants. So the entire circle, it's like an entire circle of lies. Zohran Mamdani started this campaign well over a year ago, and nobody in mainstream conservative media cared. Nobody cared. Fox News didn't cover it. Newsmax ignored it. There was like a media shutout. They thought it was funny. And then about 3 months ago, everyone woke up to the fact that an extremist Muslim is going to run New York City. And the people who were objecting to it early on were kind of told, like, oh, it's never going to happen or it's not that interesting. I think that has led to sort of complacency on Curtis Sewa's side. There's no reason, and if Trump has done this, then I'm mistaken, but if Trump has not called Curtis Sewa and told him to drop out of that race for the good of New York, then I think that that's a great misstep.
You're saying that Trump did call him or he should call him?
No, I'm saying we don't know. And the fact that we don't know makes me very concerned that he didn't. Because if someone goes against what Donald Trump has asked them to do, who's a Republican, we tend to know about it. So if Trump called him and he still didn't drop out, that's a problem.
Well, I don't think that Curtis Sewa has the proverbial snowball's chance. And you're right about the whole thing about him being selfish. What is the Republican Party of New York? What's that?
I would say that Cuomo is selfish too. He was a failed governor. Why is he running again? Is there no one else in that state worth the crap?
Well, Mamdani is the Democrat candidate. Cuomo's the only one with a big enough name that can run as an independent, right?
Yes, I mean, I think that's true. But the other side of this is some Democrats in New York State are very upset about Mamdani becoming mayor. So there's failures on both sides here. Republicans failed by not getting Curtis Sewa out. Democrats, who are not insane, failed by not getting Andrew Cuomo out. I think that this shows how disorganized the GOP in New York City is. Lee Zeldin used to do a great deal of the organizing there. He was very much involved in making sure that people knew what was happening ahead of time. Since he left to run the EPA, there's been a massive gap in the New York GOP, and this is evidence of that.
Well, what's her name? Elise Stefanik is still there, but then again, it shows that Republican women don't make good leaders. Only Democrat women make good leaders. See Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, lost her cookies on the steps of the Capitol building 2 mornings ago when a reporter got in her face. And what did she ask her? Why did you? And she kept heckling her, and then Pelosi turns on. Oh, here it is. Watch. Listen.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
She turns around and goes, your daughter's film says that you did. You said in your daughter's film, in Alexandra Pelosi's film, ma'am, you say in the car on the fateful day, on the way being whisked to safety, Magdalene, she says, I screwed up. We screwed up. We should have called the guard. I should have called the guard, not Trump. You know, isn't that an amazing thing? Trump is having to fight Gruesome Newsom. He's having to fight Pritzker. He's having to fight Maura Healey and all these other governors over the National Guard because he's going like, well, you're in trouble. Your cities suck. They're violent. Let me send the Guard in to help. So again, here is Trump going like, I have the Guard. Let me send them in. On January the 6th, everyone knows. Everyone knows. There's a memo that went out the day before. Nancy, you ought to let me send the Guard in. And Muriel Bowser and Nazi Nancy Pelosi said, we don't need Guard. We don't need no stinking Guard. I think because they knew what was coming. That's what I think. Regardless of whether they knew or not. Again, this is the fault of women.
Well, and you mentioned Elise Stefanik as well. And I will tell you, Elise Stefanik has been a failed leader in New York City, specifically New York City Republican politics, for a very long time. She never commanded any power. It was like a Kevin McCarthy psyop that she was like the future of the Republican Party. It was all lies, and I think we've all suffered greatly because of that lie that was perpetrated. And even more than that, the New York Young Republicans right now, I don't know if you've seen the Gavin Wax situation, but there is a great deal of unsettlement. The New York Young Republicans were beginning to fill the gap that the New York State GOP had left. They're in disrepair. It's a recipe for disaster.
And, Lee Zeldin also got 44% of the vote against Hateful Hochul, Satan's Apostle. That is from a lukewarm, not very well-run or organized New York party, Republican Party of the state of New York. Imagine that if Lee Zeldin weren't the director of the EPA, instead of Curtis Sliwa, Lee Zeldin in that role. Yeah. This all comes down to what we talk about all the time. All comes down to leadership. And you have as the role model for the next generation of leaders, President Trump. What does the Democrat Party have? AOC, Bernie Sanders, Hakeem Jeffries, and now Zoran, the magnificent Kami Mandani. Kami Mandani has no accomplishment in his life other than marrying a billionaire. That's his single accomplishment. I guess he's a cougar. Or she's a cougar.
Well, and in the New York mayoral race last night, the last question where they said, have you ever bought any cannabis or anything along those lines in a New York City shop? I mean, the entire thing is based around getting young people to like him. There is a coordination between media, progressives, everybody that has gotten him such high support. It was like when they asked him originally months ago, like how much your monthly rent or mortgage payment is, and it showed that he had the most normal of everybody. The level of duplicity that has gone on here, and I really think this is the fault of a couple people. The New York Young Republicans are being so disorganized. Whoever was in charge of Curtis Sewa obviously let it all go to a mess. And the fact that Democrats were okay with relaunching Andrew Cuomo, there is no way that Andrew Cuomo relaunched without several donors backing him. Who are those donors, and how can they be held accountable?
Well, this is New York City. This is New York City politics. We didn't even mention the fact that the current mayor is a Democrat. His name is Eric Adams, and the current mayor basically had to drop out of the race because he did what Biden and the Democrat Party told him to do. The reason New York City is in the pickle that it's in now is because of Biden and Harris and the Democrat Party and Eric Adams doing what they told him to do. So the insanity of believing that an Eric Adams on steroids who prays at a mosque and tries to practice some form of Sharia law is the solution. The Democrat, the city of New York is going to get the government it votes for, like H.L. Mencken said, and it's going to get it hard. I don't see any way out of this. Do you?
No, there's no way out of it. And it's very frustrating because we knew about this a year ago. And I remember even tweeting about it and talking to people, specifically people at the New York Young Republicans Club, and they just didn't care. Like, I can't explain the level of apathy enough. And these are people who are like, they're high-strung people, they're fighters. They just didn't care. And I said to a couple of them, I was like, well, what's the plan long-term if he gets elected? And they were like, well, we'll just use him for opposition for midterms and things. And I think what has happened here is that New York Republicans want to do with him what they did with AOC, because AOC was very helpful to Republicans in the midterm elections. I think she was a boogeyman in 2018. They were able to push it. They want to use Mamandi in the same way. The problem with that is that Mamandi's going to be mayor, not one congressperson in a giant state. They have not gotten that point. And I also think that Curtis Sewa, the level of delusion, and you know that Republican donors feed into that because they want to keep somebody in the race. Whoever is doing that is doing a very bad thing.
And it's not just too long ago. Again, we talked about this the last time the city of New York went belly up, went tits up, and almost went under, and it was going to go bankrupt. The NYPD was in shambles. Was after the mayorship or the mayoralty of David Dinkins, General David Dinkins, as they called him, and he was let's select a black man mayor. Okay, fine, go ahead. How'd that work out? Well, it led to the district attorney of New York. His name was Rudolph Giuliani, being elected in a landslide as an answer to Dinkins. And again, it took his honor 2 terms in his second term to bring about the changes that were needed to rebuild the NYPD. I had listeners back in the day. Marty the cop comes to mind. I had listeners back in the day that were lifelong New Yorkers. They were raised in conservative families. They were Catholics. And look, there's another thing that that used to be able to rely on. They had the Al Smith dinner last night in New York. His Eminence, Timothy Cardinal Dolan was there. I saw, there was a bunch of Fox News types there. I saw Pompeo was there, a bunch of the usual suspects. The city of New York had just like Boston, at one time, had a very large practicing pro-life, pro-family, as Marty the cop told me, Mike, I'm a Catholic. I am a work church home guy. That's what he told me. I'm a work home church guy, or a church home work, or whatever order he put it in. I was like, you don't stop because no, I don't have time for that. The city of New York, and I'm not saying that it was a paradise, but the city of New York could elect a Giuliani twice, maybe was it 3 times. The city of New York could elect his successor, Bloomberg. Successful businessman. He wasn't a Republican. He framed himself as an independent. Ultimately, in 2012, he comes out as a Democrat so he can run for president, right? Or in 2016, so he can run for president. The point being that New York was not an island that was filled with San Francisco lifestyle practicing lunatics. It was the business center of the world. You don't get to be that way by catering to socialist and communist and Muslims. But is it going to become Qatar? Is it going to become the United Arab Emirates? It's about the same size. Seemingly here, all is now going to be up for grabs. You know, how much power does the mayor have? And the idea that the Republican Party couldn't recruit a single candidate after what was done to President Trump, the most popular Republican in New York State history, who was a New Yorker, and they couldn't field a single decent candidate against this Muslim lunatic. That tells you a lot about the party and a lot about the pathetic state it's in New York.
Well, they couldn't even get a group of men who know a lot about economics and finance with the stock exchange right there to drown Mamandi in debates about finance.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't even make him a laughing stock. Like, many of those people wouldn't have won. But you couldn't even put up 3 or 4 guys of all different ages and backgrounds so it looked like a good team to drill him on taxes, to drill him on finances, to make it an economics race so that we could then give Eric Adams a chance. I mean, we couldn't do that. We couldn't do anything. The level of apathy in this race is so severe. And I think Mamandi's even been surprised about it. He's even said in interviews, I'm kind of surprised by the lack of real rebuttal. I'm surprised by the lack of defense or opposition against me by the Republicans. Democrats have given Mamandi more of a hard time than we have.
Last night in the Attorney General for Virginia race, supposedly, Jay Jones apologizes. We can't find the soundbite if he did. I don't know that he did, but I do know that the primary reason he said last night that he wants to be the Attorney General for Virginia is so that he can prosecute Trump. I'm listening to this going like, prosecute him for what? You want the people of Virginia to elect you to prosecute a citizen, someone who's not a citizen of Virginia?
No, I saw that clip. I saw the apology clip. And he talks in great deal about how sorry he is to the people he affected and everything. But the truth is, it took till now to get that apology. This started weeks ago. For weeks, he's just been hoping it would phase out. And that's the ethos of the Virginia Democrats. They hope that something phases out. It's a disgusting way to be. But Abigail Spanberger, who started this process at least 5 years ago, who is a communist, has the same feeling. And again, we're seeing the same thing. Apathy by a Republican Party in a state where it could be competitive, or there is at least a lot of attention on it. If this is what's happening in New York and Virginia, I'm very concerned about apathy in the midterm.
Well, you should be. And again, no offense to Winsome Earl Sears. I'm sure she's a great woman. She sounds like she's a patriot. Everything that you want. You couldn't nominate Hung Kao. There was no male in Virginia that could follow in the wonderful Glenn Youngkin's footsteps, and it was a great candidate. I think you're right. And why is that? Well, you don't have Lara Trump running the GOP. When she stepped down and removed herself to go to do whatever on Fox News, I was like, ruh, raggy. No offense to Michael Watley, who I think did a decent job. You almost kind of needed a Trump in there to crack skulls. And the fact that the Trumps weren't there to say anything about this, now look at the carnage.
Well, it's very bad. And Laura Trump, she had a gift for this. And she went in to do what? To interview Trump about things we already know about?
Yes.
The level of... I mean, that's what's happening. I've seen those interviews. They're ridiculous. I mean, I love President Trump, too. I already know all of these things. This is not groundbreaking commentary. He's not giving news about Putin we didn't know before. And if he was, he wouldn't be giving it to Laura Trump. And yet, across the board, this is what's happening. And even in Pennsylvania, for example, we've had a couple, small races that have happened there. Democrats have won them. So when Republicans are telling people, oh, we've defeated the Democrat Party, we're winning everything. No, you're not. We're not winning anything currently. If we lose Virginia, that will have been a massive step backward. And I agree about Virginia. I think Virginia is a place where you have to run men on the Republican side for major positions like that. It's a state that likes coziness, a very father figure state. We chose someone who doesn't fit any of those credentials. She's a lovely person. She's done nothing wrong. But if you want to win in Virginia, she was the wrong choice.
Well, and then I'm sure the thinking would, well, she was elected lieutenant governor. It's a statutory position. It's a title. It means nothing. You don't do anything. Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana runs ads for the Tourism Bureau. Doesn't do anything unless the governor leaves the country or whatever, and if they need something, then the lieutenant governor. You're right, and we're just talking about the feminization of everything. New York and Virginia have the fingerprints of feminist all over it. Bad feminist.
They do.
Stupid.
They do. And in Virginia as well, just say, having lived there during the Glenn Youngkin race, Glenn Youngkin specifically spoke to fathers. And this is something people didn't realize. He did many little, town halls and things where he invited fathers or soon-to-be fathers, newly married men. He's very much focused on getting the men of Virginia of all races and ages out to talk to him. None of that occurred this time. He campaigned for men consistently. No one's doing that now.
And by the way, you have people going, yeah, but I see Winsome Earl Sears and I see this person on Fox News. Waste of time. It's an echo chamber. You're not moving any needles there. You're doing nothing. The only way you're going to move any needles is you got to go toe to toe with Stephanopoulos or whoever, and you got to come out on top. Because they still own the major news media, and they still have the numbers. So the idea, well, they're only the good candidates are going on Fox News. Again, echo chamber. I think by design, waste of time, a complete and total waste of time. So,
it is. And Winsome Sears hasn't been on local media. I had people who are still in Virginia check. She's not been on local news consistently. She's never on. So what is that about?
Well, again, who's running that campaign?
Yeah.
Look, the Trumps have property in Virginia. Trump Winery is I've been there twice. It's outskirts of Charlottesville. It's of all of the wineries on the Charlottesville Wine Trail. It's one of the most beautiful. Some of the wines are actually okay. So it's not like the Trumps don't have some kind of a stake or vested interest in what happens in Virginia. And you know who runs that? That's Eric Trump. Eric Trump runs that place. I know that they have bigger national fish to fry. But again, the GOP machine that put Trump in office does not need to be disbanded. Whoever came up with the idea that, we need to put some new kids in there. What happened when you got rid of Reince Priebus you moved Reince Priebus out of the RNC? Yeah, and you moved a blithering idiot moron in there. I can't even remember her name. She dropped.
Rona McDaniel.
Thankfully, she faded from view, and we've never seen her again. Well, I don't know. Is Rona McDaniel running Virginia now?
Well, she's running. Actually, she has a lot of influence in a lot of the smaller organizers that were there. And that's why so many of us wanted her out for so long. She was a nightmare, and she was influencing state committees across the board.
Well, we will keep an eye on it. Magdalene, have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to get out of here. We're recording a episode of Moms, Murders, and Mysteries that I am very excited about. That'll come out. What day is Halloween this year? Today is the 17th. So, well, it's on a Friday. 14 days. Oh, okay. So October the 31st is the Friday. That week, we will have a new episode of Moms, Murders, and Mysteries that will fit a Halloween motif. And we're going to record it today. It's a case that I'm not really that familiar with, but the backstory case, I'm an expert in. Maggie is now an expert in this case. If you haven't gotten or haven't heard the last episode of Moms, Murders, and Mysteries, it'll go up a little bit. You need to start with episode 10. Because episode 10 is the Jeff Davis 8 Part 1, or prologue. Then Part 2, which we broadcast yesterday, and the podcast will go up just a little bit. It's all ready to go. I just didn't get time to finish it before the show was on. I'll get it up shortly here. And then last night's Thursday Night Throwdown. You people, you guys, you can't be bothered to show up on Thursday Night Throwdowns. We're going to start having to confiscate man cards. Last night's Rivalries was a blast. And it's just an hour of us just hanging out and talking about whatever the subject was. So thanks to all of you that did. That podcast will also be up later today, along with all the Mike Church shows. Let's get the equipment donations done. We're more than halfway there in a mere 3 days. Let's get it done so we can get the new piece in here, get it all hooked and wired up. The 10th anniversary is coming up. Lots of guests coming in here, lots of stuff going on. I appreciate all of your purchases and all of your donations. crusadechannel.com/donate. And there's an email that went out to many of you that are longtime and very active and generous donors. You got an email. Check your email. The link to this one and the explanation of it is in your email box. Probably went into spam if you didn't see it. We'll send another one out this weekend. But thanks to all of you who have contributed. Thanks to all of you who have been in the chat room this week. Lots of great activity in the chat room. Remember, we have a Signal chat that you can sign up for, the official Mike Church Show Signal chat. All you got to do is send me an email. I am KingDude@protonmail.com, and I will send you an invite to the Signal chat. If news breaks out, we will break in. Have a safe and blessed remainder of the weekend. A blessed feast to St. Margaret Alacoque and to the Sacred Heart of our Lord Jesus Christ. We'll see you Monday. God bless you and Mary keep you.